Hello, everybody, and welcome to Above and Beyond the Accessibility and Inclusion podcast for Monday, May 22nd. Happy Victoria Day for those in Canada and everybody celebrating. We're sorry we're a little bit late. We've had some technology issues, but we're here. Technology is so wonderful.
Oh, yeah, we're here.
We are here, folks,
It's
as promised,
uh-huh.
and we have got a lot to get off our chests today. I
Yeah.
understand it's a holiday, folks, but sometimes you just gotta let her go. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yep. There's the
Before
intersection of holiday and disability are
one and the
there's
same.
lots of interesting to talk about, lots of challenges.
Hmm.
Oh, yeah,
Okay,
20
so
minutes. Yeah. We joked in emails today that we should change the name of the podcast to Live-ish at 5-ish.
it's true. I mean, we're there, but we're here, guys. And
Yeah.
we've got a lot to talk
Yeah.
about. But as always, and it's been customary on a lot of our lives in the beginning. Maddie, how's the weather?
The weather is you need a jacket on your wheelchair so that when you're in the shade you put it on, and when you're in the sun you take it off. It's a layered weather day. 16 degrees, but it's feels like 20 in the sun and 10 in the shade. So yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, beautiful day. But I was on a meeting today with an organization that I work with in the States, and at the end they say, "Oh yeah, Happy Victoria Day," blah blah blah. Like what's it all about? And I said, "Well, really, typically this is the beginning of Canadian summer. It's like when all the people go to the cottage, and we sort of declare that, hey, we can start doing summer things now. It's also called May 2-4, and I explain why that's called that. But it's like it's a day that everybody in Canada leaves me alone. It's only American organizations that get me to do something on this day. But
Started
yeah,
barbecue
it,
season, so I improvised and made
yeah,
hot dogs in the pan.
I should get a barbecue. My daughter will cook on it all the time. Yeah, I
Yeah.
can't do barbecue. No, I have this long-standing fear of fire and things exploding. And so I really have a hard, like I'm so afraid of turning the thing on and like letting it get the gas into it so that it starts the flame explosion, and I'm like once it's on I'm like, okay, maybe I can like flip things, but I still like my preference is to be at least 20 feet away from the barbecue. I have the same thing with slow cookers, like and the things that go. I can't handle that sound. Like it's the sound of pressure, which to me feels it's a sound of impending explosion. And regardless of the explosion, it's like a poof or a kaboom. It's fire, things that could cause fire, fire alarms, being fired. All of these things are like just like not great experiences in my life. I don't have a lot of
So,
fears.
so
No, I
in
don't. But
conclusion,
this is one. Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen, we find out today that the best thing Maddie makes is reservations.
Oh, I have many reservations about many things. Some
Many things,
I call
many
and
things.
make.
That was an unintentional, intentional segue to the next topic.
There we go.
Oh my gosh. So,
I find like talking about disability and talking about holidays, I find it's very difficult to find generally publicly, open things that like festivals and things like that on holidays that they want everybody to go to. I find it very hard to find them to be accessible. Like they're maybe the bare accessibility, but I find that it those kinds of places we need to really kind of focus on because they're the temporary things and they just like do whatever to get it up and get it down. And I know just from experience, they're not thinking of accessibility enough or at all, and so it makes it hard to want to do things on holidays. I I like doing things with my kids. I like having small groups of people over here in my place where everything's accessible to me, and I find it's just difficult to. Well, first of all, accessible transportation is the shits on the weekend. Far more the shits than it is during the week. Am I right?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I am biting my tongue right now because I got a lot to say when it comes to that.
Well, let's
Um,
say it. Heck,
but let's
let the tongue loose. Let loose the tongue.
yeah, the
Oh, I know
weekends
what
and
time it is.
holidays for transportation, let alone accessible transportation, challenging to say the least. I want to just say, you know what? Um, was it yesterday? Yeah, it was yesterday. Was it? Yeah. Was it yesterday? So yesterday, no, it was Saturday. Yeah, it was Saturday. Saturday, I had a couple trips. Uh, volunteer in the morning, and then going to get a haircut. I booked the haircut at 2:30. Booked the ride from Darts 1:45. Mall's no more than 6 or 7 minutes away from me. Booked the trip from the volunteer place, Ron Joyce Children's Health Center. Had a
Mhm.
12:15 pickup, and yeah, so they were late for the 12:15 pickup. Shocking. Then we had drop offs on the way, and because it's a shared ride service, it's leaves little to be desired. And granted, I will give credit where credit is due. The drop off did make sense. However, I got home at 1:20 ish from the trip, and I had another 1:45 pickup. But it really didn't give me enough time to go pee. All I wanted to do was go pee. And people with disabilities take a little bit longer. So I booked it with the time to give me a little bit of a reprieve to go to the washroom. But gee, it never ends up going the way we want it to. And um yeah. Nothing happened. Everything was fine, yada yada yada. Oh, hello, yeah, right, right. Um, so long story short, got home. I had to then change my return time because I was hoping to get some stuff done ahead of the time before my appointment. Uh, so I ended up having to move my return time to 4 o'clock so I can get the incidentals that I needed to get for today, yesterday, et cetera, et cetera. Like time management really sucks for people with disabilities, if I'm being honest. Yeah, I know it's a holiday, we should, you know, but yeah, it really does suck for people with disabilities and trying to plan and manage our lives.
Yeah,
Like, is it hard to really need to go pee when you need to go pee?
yeah.
But
I mean, yeah, it's the whole concept of accessibility and accessible transportation, like inclusion, like social inclusion. Like it
and
means everything from getting us from our door to to the door of where we're going and inside the place that we're going. You know, eh, we keep stressing on this every week, and again, we talk about transit more than anything else. I think if we did a transcript and then threw all of the transcripts into a place that could do a word cloud, I'm pretty confident that transit, taxi, transportation would be the top
arts,
words. They'd be like the center of our word cloud, and we hype on
absolutely.
it because it we have no control over where we go.
No.
Outside outside the use, outside of getting out of our place in our small area around us, we do not have control of where we go. We rely heavily on the ability of other organizations to get us from A to B or C or D and A to B to C back to A,
Mhm.
and like everybody who's able bodied can do this, right?
Mhm.
If they don't have a car, they can use transit. They can go wherever they want, whenever they want, because the transit system is designed for the mass movement of people. Paratransit is for special people who have special needs and special
Special.
requests. Yeah, special, not special. Oh my god, I want
Special.
to hit the word special and bang it out of the park. Um, it's this whole separate system that assumes that it's a privilege to go from A to B to C. You know, you have to follow very strict rules about about asking to go to B, and really, really, are you sure you want to ask for going to C as well? A to B to A,
Oh, that C is
okay,
too
we
much.
can fit you
Just
in.
be happy.
But oh my god, A to B to C to A, it's like, you know what, like, that's really asking a lot. But again, take out our special needs and look at what the able-bodied person can do and where they can go and how they can get there. It's A, more convenient, B, faster, C, cheaper. And like, it puts us with the limitations put on us, really restricts what we can do and when we can do it. And we have so much more to give and participate in when we're accommodated. Like, it's all about accommodation. Like, we talk about this all the time, but it's like, I don't know who the system movers are that we need to, like, have them turn the lever of accommodation. Like, why? Like, the accessible system, paratransit systems have been around for 30, 40 years, but they really haven't changed their attitude from the get-go. They think that just having rant over. Passing on the baton to you,
Yeah, yeah.
Ranthony. Yes, be Ranthony today.
Ranthony, here we go. Okay, so you want to go from point A to point B. Congratulations. You should be happy with the service that we give you rather than the quality of service that you deserve. But you
Yeah,
want to go to
it'll get
C?
there when you get there.
Oh
Yep,
mon dieu!
yep. Oh my God,
Is that's asking way too
you've
much.
rattled the gods. You've
Oh
rattled
my
the
gosh.
accessibility
You want to go
gods.
to C? Wow. Did you forget you're not an able-bodied person? Did you forget that?
Boy,
Oh, oh shoot. I'm
ew.
sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah, I can't
Yep.
drive. I went through the process of trying to get my license to drive. Didn't happen for me, but that doesn't disqualify me from living a quality of life that I'm choosing to live. There's so much gatekeeping behind it. And then they
Yeah.
try to play the guilt card from you.
Oh my God, I know.
Oh my
It's
god, you're taking a
like it
trip away because you want to
from
go
somebody
to
else
a,
who needs it
a,
more.
a
Yeah.
recreation event from somebody who has a medical appointment.
Yeah.
And it's that's why
It's
I
yeah.
don't like. Sorry.
Yeah. No, it's okay. I'm uh aggravated. I continue to be aggravated. I mean, my my situation in the rural areas is even worse because we have one accessible taxi that can take me to places that are quality of life stuff. I have Monday to Friday, we have medical transportation, so I'm pretty okay with that. I really wish that they had an increased budget and increased, what do you call it? Scope of what they do and where they can do it. But but that's only Monday to Friday. and it's only if you booked at least 2 days ahead. Again, last minute appointment, you can't do that.
Yeah, add to
But
that when
so
you cancel.
that's a challenge on its own. But again, it's the same. It's the same. Not ideology. It's the same attitude behind it, right?
Yeah,
Well, I mean, come on, we're doing this. Like we're doing this.
right.
Like we're meeting your needs, not your wants. We're meeting your needs. But an able-bodied person can get a taxi anywhere, anytime. If we get to Ottawa, you can take a bus, go there anywhere, anytime.
Hmm.
Up to like midnight. Because yeah, but whatever. It's like I'm trying to plan several trips to Toronto this summer, and then I have a trip to Montreal and maybe a trip to Niagara Falls,
Hamilton.
maybe. And oh yeah, and one to Hamilton. That's right, one to Hamilton. Yeah, I may go to Niagara Falls after the Hamilton. See
Aha.
some friends out there. But
But
it's so like I getting to Toronto on train, getting to Niagara Falls, getting to Hamilton by GO or whatever, I can do that. The mass transit system is easier to use and more accessible than the local transit systems, but the paratransit systems and the taxi system, oh my god.
but see, yeah, and the local systems are governed, and I don't know how it is in your area, but I always thought the local paratransit systems are governed, both public and accessible transit, governed by the Metrolinx. As well as
In
the
Toronto, not in Ottawa. In Toronto,
no,
yes. Yeah,
yeah.
Ottawa uses the Presto system, but that's the only link they have. It's completely autonomous from Metrolinx.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you've got a
I'm
very
just
GTA centric view of the world.
no. As long as you can get there, but you can't get
The world
there.
doesn't revolve. The world doesn't revolve around Toronto and the GTA. It's not all about being on Lake
About
Ontario.
communities. I will say this. I'll give credit where credit is due. I got a couple trips last minute, shockingly, that allowed me to do certain things that I was able to accomplish over the last couple days. Mind you, the lateness is something that needs to be really addressed, and
Yeah,
the fact that there's a lot of picking and choosing of how they treat certain clients over others because of their
yeah,
abilities to advocate and quote unquote fight back, fight the system back. So many people are taken advantage of in the sense that the logistics and the scheduling of accessible transit are so wrong. Uh, I had one guy this morning drive past where I lived when he went to go drop me off. Like, come on, it's things like
yeah.
that. It's the Presto system is great, but we get in the accessible transit vehicles, we get the hand me downs from the HSR Hamilton Street Railways Presto system. So we don't have the luxury of just tapping our card and going. We got to hand the card over to the
Seriously?
driver. The driver's got to hand the card back. Takes 10-15 seconds for it to go through the cycle. You know, time is of the essence. We're wasting so much time, especially when they're doing all these little shenanigans and all that stuff too, where they're going to the wrong
The,
place, dropping off at the wrong spot, late. See, I okay. Full
the,
disclosure, I
the
have been a
Presto
darts
system,
user.
yeah. Go ahead.
Sorry, I just want to add, I've been a darts user since 2017, and mistakes in 2017 should not be mistakes in 2023. That's all
I
like.
I
We're so
I was a yeah, I was a paratransport user 2009 to 2011 in Ottawa. And I was a rural user, so but and I still used it when I was when we moved right into the suburban part of Ottawa. And oh, the hoops that you had to go through to get it, and Like they really didn't like it covered anywhere in the city of Ottawa. The city of Ottawa is massive, and we're in the rural area, so they wanted to tack on like extra things. It was expensive and complicated, but I needed it. But we added the Presto system to the bus system in 2012, and I know that because on the day that it was um, rolled out, oh what a mess they had, and trying to get online to get the cards and do stuff. And sorry, I know I was tweeting it. I was live tweeting my experience. So CBC called me and said, "Hey, I understand you're having some problems with getting the Presto and everything. You want to chat about it?" So they came to my house. They interviewed me, sort of walking through trying to get online and everything with Presto. But we were told that within 2 years, Presto would be also implemented into the paratransit system. And I am not sure yet if they have it. I think I think if it is, it's very recent. But like it took a long time to put it into like put it was supposed paratransport and OC Transpo were supposed to be a sort of a seamless thing, so that you originally used your bus pass with you pay a little extra for whichever zone that you were going to, and that's the way the paratransport worked. Then with the Presto card thing, it was supposed to again, it was supposed to be a seamless thing, and it took years for that to happen. And again, I'm not sure if it is there yet. I think it is, but I'm not gonna say for sure. But it took a long time, and just the paratransit systems are the are the are the are the also ran things like they're not the priority. They're not the priority of funding. They're not the priority of staffing. They're not the priority of listening to actual people with experience and changing processes and steps to like I am sure if like, I have no idea if darts does this, but if they did a customer satisfaction survey, it would probably not be good for them. Probably that's why if they haven't done it, it's probably why they don't do it. Or if they do it, they don't publish it because I don't know of anybody that starts off with a positive experience about either darts or paratransport.
That's the thing. That's strategic on their end. They'll do
Yeah,
customer satisfaction
they'll
surveys
know how
and
bad they
only
are,
take
but not fix it.
and only take the ones that are favorable to them. And then, look at Darts has a 90%.
Yeah,
See, um when I first created my first visible um complaint, let's call it, to Darts in 2017 in April. Literally within the news, they got to reach out to Darts. Darts has responds and whatnot, and they responded with Darts has a 90% ish satisfaction rate. Where? Who? 90% of what number? You leave it so loose ended. There was an incident, and I don't want to speak too much about it, but uh, and the director, I believe she was the director of transit, spoke about it on the local news here, and said, a lot of what's happening with darts is, blamed exactly is blamed on a lot of driver absenteeism and whatnot. But they fail to go into more detail as to explain why there's a lot of absenteeism. They
yeah,
missed the boat there. There was a good opportunity for the real truth behind darts to come out. And let's call it
yeah,
what it is. There's the reason for the driver absenteeism and absenteeism as a whole. And I'm not just suggesting drivers themselves, but it's the
yeah.
stress. It's the stress leaves
Oh
that
God,
people.
yeah, yeah. Like
You know,
if so, basically, what I've seen in any situation when customers are getting poor service, it's like it can be the person who served you, but it's usually like why did the customer serve you this particular why did the server serve the customer this particular way? And it's probably the process or the policies behind that they're the failing, right? They're not supported or the systems just suck. Like, scheduling, if they're given crammed like 5 people in 4 places in a small bit of time, they're going to start off realizing this is stupid. B, the timing's not right. C, it's going to take way longer. D, I'm going to have upset customers because some of them are going to be late. And like, and you're like, not again. Like, seriously, not again. And that's every day. And that's like, I always stop when I'm getting bad service from somebody. I can either get angry with them for, like, I'm the customer, serve me well, and go off like a half-baked Karen, or I can try to see, okay, what's going on behind this. When you're at a fast food place, that's hard to do, but when you're in a system like this, it's not the drivers. My God, I mean, I've talked to the taxis. The responsibility they have, and the challenge they have working with us is significant. And it's not because of us. It's because the attitude that the organization has, and basically makes everybody think that they're doing us favors, and it's like they just gotta, like, we're not treated like clients.
Human
We're not
beings.
treated like people. We're treated like beings that should just accept what we got because we're doing our best in this situation. But doing our best isn't good enough, and it's 2023. I keep saying this every year. I keep saying this every year. Like, there's some areas we're going off and doing great progress, but it's all lip service if we don't freaking fix transportation.
If we don't
act, huge issue for us.
Absolutely. And you know what else, Maddie, too? When you think about it, the grander picture is because there's no options. Paratransit, accessible transit is the option. Yeah. There's a lot of collusion. There's a lot of internal propaganda, let's call it, that doesn't allow people with disabilities to thrive. I'll then connect it to our other big issue about doubling OGSP.
You know what? I'm just go on.
Sure, go ahead.
I have a thought here. Now, the provincial government spends some funds in funding the transit systems. However, they're under the authority of the federal transportation. Like that's because they have to follow federal rules because they're transit agencies. And maybe what we need to do is, since we're not getting anywhere getting the provincial government to do anything with the cities, they'd rather just like split them apart, move it together, rip away their rights, put new powers in. Like the municipalities are just playthings to the provincial government right now. But the federal government has oversight over transportation. So perhaps one of the things we need to push in the federal government and push in accessibility is push for a change. Like, one thing that would help right now is a lived experience advisory group that has some power with every agency, every transportation agency, because I really feel that the one big thing is they have no idea what our struggles and needs are, or if they do, they're ignoring us. There needs to be a forum for them. There needs to be a forum for these needs to be expressed in a clear way with some degree of power to, like, present reports to the thing so that it's public, so like that they have to respond to it, and and maybe the just like it's we need teeth. We can go back to the AODA, right? We need teeth in it. We need teeth in the AODA. We need teeth in the Accessible Canada Act to require a higher level of accessibility and accommodations than minimum standards. I hate that term. Like,
We are
oh God,
complying.
it's and I've said this 1,000 times. You said this 1,000 times. Meeting the minimum needs, minimum standard, if it doesn't meet the minimum needs that people have, is not. It's a lie. It's a deception, and it's hurting us. It's
Yeah,
it's
and
it's
it's not
it's
bringing us an
to
opportunity.
me it's as bad as like the R word, the N word, and a whole whack of others. I get so angry because it's it's shielding people that should not be shielded. It's shielding the people that are responsible for meeting our needs. Again, we want to talk minimum standards should meet minimum needs, right?
Yep.
I'm okay with that. Really, that's not what we should be aiming for. Like that should be the floor, not the ceiling, and that's the problem. Minimum standards in many organizations and many municipalities is the standard, is the ceiling.
Well, I mean, it goes to a lot of things. It's we're
It's cheaper,
there's looking at the cost, yeah, versus investment.
but not
You're
really. We,
looking
we
at
know
it
that it's
in
not. We know that. Yeah, we know that accommodations don't actually cost a lot. It's
right,
attitude. It's
not in the
changing.
grander scheme of things. If you use your minds and think of it from a common sense and intelligent standpoint, you look at it from being reactive rather than proactive.
Yeah,
Now, and I mean we've said this over the last couple of years now, Maddie, with the pandemic and when it reached its height. The government created CERB, the Canadian Emergency Response Benefit, and really
6 weeks.
dictated the presidents at that time that the cost of living for a person is $2,000 a month. Yet people
Yeah,
on ODSP at that time were making 1169.
yeah. I know. It's again attitude, choice, preference,
You couldn't work, yeah.
not understanding the needs. Okay, the legislated poverty is a choice that the majority of politicians are making. It's a choice. It's a choice that keeping us in legislative poverty has been the choice of governments for 27 years now.
Yeah,
27 years,
absolutely.
every government, every color, every shape, every size, every minister. They've all, there's a walk of shame of every minister that's been in charge of the ODSP, that's kept us significantly in poverty, has not
Hmm.
kept up with inflation. Yet they're you look at the salaries that MPPs have received over the last 27 years, and it's like 40-50% more. What's us? 11, 15, 16% in total. What's been inflation? 40-50%. It's
Hmm.
even more now. It's like when the 2020 um standard of living, the cutoff was 2,200.
Hmm.
That's for an able-bodied person, individual, able-bodied. The line is 2,200. So the the reality is we need somehow to shift the the political thinking that ODSP and funding people with disabilities is is a social service. It's a social assistance. We need to think of it as not just getting people out of poverty, but to get people, being their
And
agency
opportunities to
being,
thrive.
yeah, like, yeah, we thriving. Oh, there goes my camera.
Uh-oh.
It'll come back. There we go.
It'll come back.
We're back.
I am ready. And we're
Uh,
back.
oh, there we go. No, wait. Okay, it
No,
likes it
wait.
like this, but not like that.
There we
All
go.
right.
I got it. I got it.
Yeah. So it's we need people, and I think the broader population, I think, understands it now. We've done some surveys. They definitely, they want the CDB, implemented right away. They want, like 76% want that done now within a year, and want people with disability out of poverty, because I think they've realized now across the country we're all below poverty if we're on whatever the disability assistance is in that province. Like it's ODSP should be where the poverty line is, right? And then the Canada Disability Benefit can pop us up after that so we can thrive. That would be the ideal future, and not the government's waiting for just holding on things where they are really low, killing us monthly, literally killing us monthly, and waiting for the CDB to sort of go on top of it to get us at the poverty level. That's it's I have strong words for it. I'm really desperately trying to stay in the advocate sphere and not jump into activism, but it's a hard pill to swallow, knowing that your government's actively avoiding
the inevitable,
saving your life. Like
absolutely.
it's they know what they know what they need to do. They know, like, all of the reports that they've ever received have told them that ODSP needs to be doubled so it's at or above the poverty line, and that all of the elements in it, they know the recommendations of getting rid of the whole married part of it, that it should be considered an individual benefit and stop looking at it as a household thing. Like, there's just so many damn things that this government and the Liberal government before that, like 27 years of being treated like
Neanderthal.
less than human. We're not treated like livable human beings that need support, that can't work to make this difference, except a small bunch of us. And if you did support us, like, this is the thing, the economy will do well when it's most vulnerable do well. The economy suffers when you've got to be looked at how you treat the most vulnerable. And that's the lens that every government should look at. How are we treating the most vulnerable? That's how we should be judged. That's how we should be, looked at. That's the record that you should be able to run on. Is like, how do we support the most disadvantaged people that we have, and not how can we support the ones who can give us the most money to help us win, which is really the last 27 years have been run by governments and run by parties that have, Liberals talk and don't do. They talk, and then they don't do. And then election comes up, and then they do. And then they talk about it. The PCs don't talk about it, don't do it, and then sometimes you yell loud enough, they're like, they'll adjust some things and never talk about the fact that they've changed their mind. They just change their mind and do it, which is at least something. But it's just never to, like, they don't look at how are we treating the least among us.
Yeah, and we're only as strong as our weakest link. I think that's the old adage. And we believe in the opportunities to be allies together, but we need to be accommodated to be an ally. Accessibility is for everyone, and accommodation is for one. But when you accommodate that one, your accommodation for one can turn it into an accommodation for more. You can be leading the way and trailblazing an opportunity for being precedent setting in the world that we live in, and we have to work together on it. Like you said, Maddie, we have to work together on it, and it takes people like you and I to continuously use our voices to not only be heard, be listened to, but we need that call to action. We need to be proactive rather than reactive. We need to be progressive in the way we do things. I love what you said several months ago, and it still sticks with me to this day. That when you break through one barrier, subsequent barriers are more are easier to break through. It just takes
Yeah.
that gumption to break through that single barrier, so that subsequent barriers are more easy to break through. I fully agree with you, Maddie, there, and yeah, I wanted to just kind of jump into something, Maddie, if I can.
Sure.
Been a crazy week with a whole bunch of stuff happening. Um, I'm glad I wasn't on this live a couple days ago when I actually had my nose taped up because I had unfortunate incident with my bathroom counter. There was a meeting of the minds, so to speak,
So
and
you decided to let it sink. You decided to let it sink in.
absolutely. So I let it sink in for a couple days, removed the Band-Aid, still swollen, still little red there, but I couldn't breathe with the tape on, so only bruising, a little swelling, but c'est la vie. Okay, I want to go back to transit, Maddie, for a quick
Sure.
second
Yep.
and talk about the double standard at darts right now.
Yeah.
I'm shooting a commercial or being part of a commercial that is shooting this Friday in Mississauga. I've asked Darts if they would, take me down there as a one-off, and they would be paid accordingly. Um, and understanding of the fact that I don't want to go point A to point B to C to D and whatnot, especially if it's going to be a long day on set. I would just rather take
Yeah.
the trip in a comfortable vehicle going from point A to point B. They've declined it. Um, I mean, obviously, I'm not exactly their favorite person, which I totally get that. But it's an opportunity for them to make amends, to show uh, respect to who they are and what they do. Like, I mean, it's no different than them doing things like Meals on Wheels through the pandemic. It's no different than picking up passengers at an HSR Hamilton Street Railway bus stop. They do these kind of things from time to time. I actually was
Yeah.
recently made aware of the fact that they picked up an individual who is a Tiger Cat Hall of Famer from Port Dover to Tim Hortons Field, give or take an hour away, outside of the limits of which Darts provide service. Not to toot my own horn, not to be cocky or be arrogant, Maddie, but in 2020 I was named to the Order of Hamilton. So I
Cool.
mean, it kind of lends itself to opportunities. It kind of would be their way of making amends to somebody who's really trying their best to help make the community the best place to raise a child and grow successfully, according to the Hamilton motto. I always like to add the best place to live, work, and play together and to belong. And this would be an opportunity for them to um, plant the flag on, people actually belonging, not being treated like a number, like a statistic. It's an opportunity that's trailblazing. I mean, I'm sick and tired of the double standard. I'm sick and tired of my life being gate kept by them. It's interesting, the tax dollars that are going towards this vendetta that they got against me. They're using all this surveillance cameras. They're using confidentiality agreements, which are, quite frankly, in poor taste and illegal use of surveillance and confidentiality agreements, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, they're supposed to improve the greater good of the system, not attack one person. Is what's happening, really.
Yeah.
So, and it's not right. But I digress. I mean, I digress. But you know what, Maddie? It's Monday. There's another brand new
Yep.
edition of Above and Beyond happening tonight on Cable 14. I'm
Yes.
excited. We've got Kevin Collins, President and CEO of Easter Seals Ontario. I'm excited for this episode. A couple things happening on the docket this weekend that I'm excited for. Can't really reveal too much right now, but like I said, I'm looking forward to that commercial. Being part of that commercial on Friday. Yeah, I just this whole darts thing is crazy. Nope, it's May 28th. May 28th
All
to
right.
June 3rd.
Okay. Well, let's fix that.
National Accessibility Week is next week, guys. Maddie and I
You
have
know
some
what? I
plans.
meant to type 28, but I hit 29 because I erased
Yeah,
29 because I realized that's the Monday. All
yeah.
right.
But
There
yes,
we go.
well,
And
our plans are starting on the Monday, but National Accessibility Week
yeah,
does begin on May
starts.
28th, and I'm excited to be a part of this with you, Maddie. Last
Yes.
year we decided to do some lives pretty much every day, and you know what? It's a
Yep.
year later, so let's do it again. So we'll be
Yep.
back on
And
our lives pretty much every day during National Accessibility Week,
yeah.
talking about different topics.
Yeah.
AutisticRambler.com,
Yeah. We're
AnthonyFrisina.ca.
gonna yeah. I'll be keeping that. I'll be keeping my website updated every day as we add new videos to it, and we'll be putting the links on there and a little write up of what we've done. And you
Love
can
it.
do the same with your website, but at least I have a plan for that. And all the ones we did
Good,
last
good.
year are on
AutisticRambler.com,
autisticrambler.com.
AutisticRambler.com for all the updates on our events for the week. I'm looking forward to it again with you.
Mm-hmm.
We are starting it on May 29th, going
Yeah, the
all the way
Monday.
to June 3rd, if possible. We're gonna
We're gonna figure it out. We're gonna
more to
figure it
come.
out. Yeah, yeah.
Figure
May
it out
not
as
be
we
on
go.
the. Yeah, we're gonna figure it out. We'll put out blasts to all our socials and emails, letting people know of our plan because it was
If
really
not
good
tonight,
last year. Yeah.
absolutely. If not tonight, tomorrow, but you'll see a lot more of us during next week during National Accessibility Week. And I am
Yeah.
excited for that, Maddie, to do this with you. So yeah, stay tuned for that, guys. Again, watch Above and Beyond tonight on Cable 14 and cable14.com with Kevin Collins. And Maddie's going to put up the board for me to kind of go over
I
everything. Thank
am.
you.
Yep.
Facebook
Yep.
every
Yep.
Mondays at 5 p.m. ish on 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 our channels here. Above and Beyond the podcast at gmail.com, above and beyond Anthony Frisina, and above and beyond for you uh, at anthonyfrisina.ca, Anthony_Frisina on Twitter, Maddy Dever at Matt J. Dever on Twitter, at autisticrambler.com. We got a lot happening, guys, and this is just the scratching the surface. This is what advocates do. This is what we do as advocates to
Yeah.
change the culture, change the mindset. It's not 1975 anymore. Things need to change, especially in transit. Maddie and I know that. You know that.
Oh yeah.
Reach out to
Yep.
us at above and beyond the podcast at gmail.com. Join us May 29th to June 3rd on our podcast. Interact with us. We'd love to have a time where we can just interact with our viewers, our listeners, our followers,
Yep.
people. Join us. This will be great. We need to make change.
Yes.
We need to band together as allies, and we need to make change together. I am on fire today, Maddie. I'm going to stop talking because I am viable to say something that I probably will regret later on because that's the kind of mood that I am. Thank you so much for
Yes.
joining, Maddie. Always good seeing you, friend.
Always good.
Yeah, the weather is nice here in Hamilton. By the way, I just want to add that too because we started with your weather. Got to get mine in here too. We are going to a game July 8th together. Follow us in section 102 at Tim Hortons Field, aka the Donut Box. What else you got, Maddie?
Oh my gosh. I'm yeah. This okay. My daughter, my one of my youngest, turns 15 on the 30th. So life right now is partially revolving around planning her 15th birthday party, and she's huge on birthdays, and she remembers everybody's birthday, and she's the greatest kid for birthdays. So we want to make sure hers is lots of fun. So that's definitely, I'm spending a lot of time on that. But I'm also going to be in Toronto this weekend because a friend's invited me to see my favorite band, Crowded House. They're in Toronto on Saturday, and she's got tickets for me. So I'm coming to Toronto. I'm having some meetings around that. We may actually have an impromptu disability sort of pop up get together on Saturday afternoon. But yeah, it's gonna be fun. And
Let's
my
do a live
cousin,
then, Maddie.
my
Let's do another live.
my
Maybe a little
nephew,
pop up live.
yeah, my nephew is going to be coming with me. He's 15. He, uh, he's a cool kid, and he's going to visit some friends in Toronto, and so it's going to be an interesting dynamic because I haven't spent a lot of time with him. I spent like bits of time, but it's going to be neat to sort of have him off and off for the weekend, and it's definitely on the train trip. So yeah, that's me. And the weekend after, I'm on the June 4th. I'll be in Toronto for the Autism Speaks walk. So I'm looking forward to that, and we'll talk about that
Devers
next week.
road trip.
Yeah, I'm
Devers road
dabbling in
trip.
a lot of
Stay
things,
tuned.
but I'm in Toronto 2 weekends in a row. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, and yeah, and
Business
just
and pleasure.
before we kind of log off, man, I think it's important to say thank you to the city of Toronto for including us in their discussions regarding construction zone safety and
Yeah,
safety along the lines for people with disabilities. Not only
yeah,
even you and I, we both don't live in Toronto, but they've asked us to be a part of this, which has been phenomenal.
yeah.
It's been a great experience just to have these
It really
conversations with
is.
the fine folks of Toronto. And we're having another conversation this Wednesday night, I think it is. I'm part of the Wednesday night
Yeah,
group,
Wednesday night. Yep, that's fun. I am there too. Yeah,
so I will be with you then. And yeah, no, this just it's not talking. We're talking about a whole bunch of different things. In terms of being aware of construction zones, but also preventing, um, injury during a construction zone, but also preventing access to a construction zone. Time management that I was
yeah.
talking about earlier.
Oh yeah,
Avoiding it whenever
yeah,
possible. As you and I, aren't
yep,
residents trying to come in. If we know about this ahead of time, we can certainly make plans to avoid it, and
yeah,
I consider proper time management about it.
yeah.
So, I mean, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But once
It's
again,
I'm
the
being
sorry.
asked is being asked and invited is the key thing, like so that you actually get things for us that will work for us, instead of
Absolutely.
things to us that you hope will work for us.
Right, and then
Huge difference.
having to do it
Exactly.
over and having to spend more money. So
Yeah.
I'm happy to be part of the discussion
Yeah.
at the forefront of the conversation with the city of
Yeah.
Toronto, as you are,
Yeah.
Maddie. And
Yeah.
once as always, guys, it's been great. The board has already been read. I'm sorry we ran on a little bit again, but we'll see you
We
next time.
started late, so yeah. I'm gonna leave you with one completely unrelated joke. If two people are sitting in a bar drinking whiskey together. They're with each other in spirits.
And good night, everybody.
Bye.